pretty good. I think one of the things that I wrote a note down though is I'm gonna move the defense down to this side of the field, because although they have to communicate as well, it's not the same. And it does take away from your ability to coach and practice the way you want to coach. So slide the defense down here, make sure the offense is up right by the noise and have to manage it. But we've been doing it since camp. We did it as loud as we possibly could this week, and I think that's going to help us. I don't know if you can ever, completely prepare for 110,000, but we're doing everything we possibly can to help those guys manage that.
You talked yesterday about Koa. Were there any other linebackers that you guys had shuffled around? Jonathan Thomas, you guys have moved in the spring. How's he doing?
He's doing good, yeah, but we haven't made any other changes. We're trying to create more flexibility with those other two guys, but no, we haven't made any more changes.
Coach, who's the player that you've had filling the role of Jabril Peppers on the scout team?
Aaron Monroe.
And how has he performed? Has he given your number ones the work that they?
Yeah, again, that's a common question when you play these types of teams and they have these types of players, and obviously it's hard to replicate a guy who's one of the more dynamic players in college football right now. But Aaron's a really good athlete, and we're excited to get him back into the rotation here, hopefully soon. But he's done a nice job, and that's partly why we do it. We go through and we pick out the guys that we think are going to do the best job of replicating those guys in practice. But it's hard to do. If he was as good as Jabril Peppers right now, he probably wouldn't be on the scout team.
James, how does that process work for a guy like Aaron? At what point in the week is he sitting down and studying Jabril on tape, or is he working with somebody who's leading him on in that regard?
Yeah, the GAs run the scout team, and then it's really kind of up to the individual, no different than the rest of these guys. Are they going to come in and watch the film on their own and try to imitate that guy the best they possibly can? We do watch some film with the scout team and things like that, but it's really up to the individual. No different than John Reed watching a bunch of tape on his own, to get prepared.
Is it mostly a physical thing, or is it more about being aware on both sides of the ball where that player is at any given moment?
You talking about with Jabril Peppers?
Yeah, but also with Aaron preparing as Jabril when your defense and your offense are going against him.
Not really. We draw cards up. So like he's playing Jabril Peppers as number 5. He's in that spot, and he's either playing man coverage, he's either blitzing, he's either dropping no deep half, and he just is really doing what the card says. Offensively, we have to have an awareness of where that guy is, because no different than on offense with Saquon or with some of our wideouts. They're trying to put that guy in position to make plays. So whether it's blitzing or whatever it may be, like I mentioned, I think the other day, these guys are like 45% pressure on normal downs and like over 70% on third down. So they do a lot. He's a big part of the things that they do, whether it's matchups and coverage and man coverage, which that's what they predominantly do, or when they're pressuring, they're trying to put him in position. They move him around a lot.
And what about on special teams? Any special preparation in terms of him in the return game?
No, the biggest thing is which you guys have heard me say a lot is kick location. We're not going to change what we do. I think that's one of the mistakes that you can make is you get into one of these games and you try to change what you've been doing all year long for this specific opponent. The best thing you can do is keep working on the schemes and the fundamentals and techniques that you're already doing, do them really well, and then make sure that your punts and kicks are in the right spot. The last thing you want to do is kick the ball down the middle of the field and give this guy 53 1/3 to work with. You want to corner him in, so he doesn't have a whole lot of room to work with.
Jeans, this weekend, we've already talked a lot about Jabril Peppers and Jordan Lewis in the Mission secondary. How about like James Dribbling, Delano Hill, people like that? What do they bring to the table and what have you been doing to prepare for that?
They're veterans. I think you guys have heard me say, we have 12 seniors on our team. They have 13 seniors in the 2 deep on offense and 13 seniors on the 2 deep on defense. The secondary are veteran players. The defensive line are veteran, big physical players. Plus, I think they're getting Jordan Lewis and Taco Charlton back this week, who have been dynamic players, those 2 guys, and they haven't played the last couple of weeks. So, they are big, strong, veteran players that make plays. They're ranked in the top 5 for a reason. This is a good football team.
James, you talked about Cam Brown. Seemed pretty excited about it. What do you see from him, and how has his progression defensively been going on the defense? And what does his size and length provide for you? Does it give you anything extra at linebacker?
Yeah, I think he's a guy that's playing special teams right now. I think his defensive role is going to continue to grow. It has to, just based on the situation that we're in right now, and we think he has the ability to do it. His length, I think, really helps him in pass coverage because it's hard to get the ball around him or over him. But also, it can cause issues when you're 6'5", 210 to 15 pounds. Making sure he's playing with leverage, because if you're not real big and then guys get underneath you, which is natural to happen when you're 6'5", he's got to force himself to play with great leverage. In high school, he could get away with being high and still being able to out physical people, and at this level, he's got to play with great leverage and great fundamentals. So that's all new to him.
Does he have?
With all the young guys you're playing in backups, what sort of domino effect has that had in terms of who you're playing on the second team? Have you had to take anybody else out of red shirts, or are there other walk-ons that you've had to promote?
Jan is now, in a more prominent role. Jan Johnson is a guy. We've actually taken some guys from scout team and had to move them up because they were third team on scout team, and now they're fourth team and now they're third team, or they're third team and now they're second team. So it's affected scout teams a little bit. But I would say Jan's probably the biggest one that kind of jumps out to us. Shane Simmons is a guy that's kind of been bouncing back and forth a little bit, but not a whole lot more than that.
How close is Irvin to getting more reps on offense?
He's close.
Is he? I guess, do you look at it as if he succeeds on special teams, he can earn more time on offense that way, or is it more of a matchup-based thing?
Yeah, it's not really earning. It's more just experience. The more he plays and the more confident he gets and the more comfortable he gets, the more productive he is at practice, the more consistent he is at practice. All those things are just going to give him a better opportunity to play. He's a redshirt freshman. It's going into game 4. So he's all right.
How do you think Mike Gesicki is? You go.
Someone go.
Okay. How do you think Mike Gesicki has done so far this year, especially compared to his last season?
Really good. I told you guys coming into the season, I thought, he'd been taking a real business-like approach to this and been very serious about his work in the offseason, is trying to be more physical in the run game, and has always been a guy that we felt like could make plays in the pass game, and I think that's showing up this year for him. So I'm really pleased with him. I'm really happy. He's playing with a lot of confidence right now. We got to continue to build on that.
This was the first Big Ten venue that you're returning to. I mean, you're at Vanderbilt, you lost at Florida and Tennessee, and then when you made the return trip 2 years later, you won both those games. What sort of advantages are there having played some?
I think having kind of an understanding, not only for the players but for the coaches, is important. This is an impressive venue. I think we got a bunch of players now that have played there before or been in that environment. The same thing with the coaches. I got a better understanding of how to prepare our guys for what it's going to be like. So yeah, I think those things help. I think experience in general helps. Not only that, but then we've talked to some people that have played there this year. They have, I think, 8 home games this year. It's kind of an unusual situation. So, we're excited about the opportunity. They've scored a bunch of points. Special teams have been a big part of that. And then I think playing at home, there's an advantage. I mean, I think everybody knows that. You guys know that. You look at, spreads and all those types of things. Home field advantage is a big difference. So, so we're going to have to go and deal with it.
You guys do ball security all the time, like you said, you'll continue to do. Have you seen anything this week that leads you to believe it will be different, or were there any indications the last couple weeks that you thought, maybe it'll be a little tougher?
No, there wasn't anything that jumped out that we felt like was going to be problematic, or we would have done more. But the guys have done a good job with it. I have asked the scout team to strip more because it's no different than anything else. If you have issues, there's blood in the water. They're going to say that this team will fumble, so they're going to be more motivated to strip. It's no different than if you're the right guard on PAT field goal and you get blown out in week 1. You better be prepared week 2, week 3, week 4. Everybody's going to pick on you until you show that you're able to do it. So that'll be obviously an emphasis for them, and they're going to look at it as an opportunity in this game.